So let's get started. The first selection of the 2007 National Hockey League Entry Draft belongs to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Well, they don't love the Blackhawks here in Columbus. Dale Talon's team will pick in the top three for the third time in the last 4 years, but this is the first time in the history of the National Hockey League Draft that the Chicago Blackhawks have had the first overall selection. And Doug, you get the sense this is a crucial time for the Blackhawks.
Well, it certainly is, and they've really started with a nice foundation on their blue line in the last couple of drafts with the Barkers and so on. But this is a big pick. This is a big pick to add a big piece up front. Ruutu was a good addition a few years ago. Injuries have really hurt his progress. This is a key pick to go with young Taves, as I said earlier. Very big day for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Is there any concern about his size?
Well, absolutely there's some, but not on the part of the Chicago Blackhawks. They really think he's got a chance to be a home run offensive player in the National Hockey League. Dale Talon will tell you that even though he's only 5'9", 5'10", that he's not afraid to get in and swing in the tall trees. That he goes to the areas in the front of the net where you have to score goals and be a dynamic player. And they're very excited that Pat Kane is going to be their first pick as head scout Michel Dumas goes up with the sweater in his hand. And general manager Dale Talon has been very busy of late, adding Sergei Samsonov, adding Andre Zuzin, deleting Cullimore, deleting O'Coin, and he's going to make the pick.
On behalf of the Chicago Blackhawks, we'd like to thank the Columbus Blue Jacket organization, their great fans, and the wonderful city of Columbus for their great hospitality. We'd also like to thank our great fans, 3,500 strong tonight at a draft party at the United Center. We thank them for their support. This historic pick, the first time ever the Chicago Blackhawks have had the first pick, and we proudly select from the London Knights, the Ontario Hockey League, Patrick Kane.
This is the second straight year that an American-born player goes first overall. It's the first time that's ever happened. Eric Johnson went first overall to the St. Louis Blues last year, and Bob, Patrick Kane led the Ontario Hockey League in regular season and playoff scoring as an 18-year-old.
That's right, 62 goals, 145 points. But what really impressed the scouts and what really made a difference was that he dominated at the World Junior. It's so difficult for a draft-eligible player to be a dominant player at the World Junior Championship, but Patrick Kane did that to a higher level than Alexei Cherepanov or any of the other players, James Van Riemsdyk, like any of the other draft-eligible players, and that's really what made him the number one pick in the book of most teams in the National Hockey League. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, and this is a player that makes other players better. The size has not affected him at any level he's ever played. What he did in the Ontario Hockey League this year, to me, was truly amazing for a young player, first-year player in the league. He's going to be a dynamic player for this organization. And so much for my pick in the mock draft. I made a mistake, but I've been wrong before.
And now the key question for Kane is going to be, does he play this fall? He'll get every chance to be in their lineup.
He will have a chance. He may be a little physically immature, but Dale Talon says there is a chance to play immediately. The opportunity was there. It will depend on how he trains in the offseason, how he does in training camp. First thing he's got to do is got to get an agent. He's got to get signed. He might be the only player in this that we see drafted in this first round has not selected a player agent as of yet. Said that the agents were knocking on his door a couple of years ago when he was 5'6". And so he's not in any hurry to pick anybody. There are concerns about the size, though, guys. I talked to one scout who said he's very skilled, he's very smart, and he's very, very small. You're going to find this is a draft, subpar year a little bit, where we start raising questions about all the picks almost immediately. Whereas historically, you could go 5 or 10 deep before you could come up with a negative. All of these players have little idiosyncrasies that could be a problem in the short term.
Doug, the London Knights still have a recent history under the Hunter family, including Dale, the head coach, of turning out good pros, though. You think about guys like Corey Perry in Anaheim, so the Knights have a good track record.
Rick Nash turned out pretty good as well.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that he's going to step in and play, and it's always challenging for the organization because they got to make sure they use him right, they treat him right, they play him his minutes because he's got to develop into a star. And that's going to be a challenge for the coaching staff, but he'll fit in and he'll do fine.
And so Patrick Kane goes first overall. Let's take a look at some of the recent ones. Columbus picked Rick Nash in 02, Marc-Andre Fleury to Pittsburgh. These players have been pretty good impact players. Eric Johnson should be playing in the NHL this fall. Now, the next pick in the draft belongs to the Philadelphia Flyers, and this is an intriguing one. Let's go down to James Duthie.
All right, with Patrick Kane and Dale Talon. And Patrick, back when you were 14 years old and your parents dropped you off in Detroit to play for Honey Baked, you called Mom 2.5 hours later and said, "I don't think I can do this." Well, you did it, and congratulations on being the first overall pick. Are you ready to play in the National Hockey League next season?
I think I've had a good summer and really work hard and work on my strengths and my weaknesses. And I think I'll give myself a chance. That's my goal, is to go into that camp and make the team. But if not, I got a great place in London, and it's been unbelievable this year. But don't get me wrong, I'm going in to make the team right away.
Do you think he has a chance and a good chance to play on your team next year?
We're going to give him every opportunity to play in our hockey club. We're going to have a young team, and we think he has the ability, and he has the fortitude and the desire, and he has the passion for it, and he's unbelievable skills. I think he's got a great opportunity to make our team.
Patrick's heard the questions about size his whole life. He's sick of them. I won't ask him.
Yeah.
But was it at all a consideration for you, and the fact that Denny Savard is behind your bench, a guy who had a pretty darn good career without much size, did that play a factor in you choosing Patrick?
And we had no reservations at all because of the size of his heart. He was fearless. He's fearless, goes into tall trees, he gets the work done, and to make the play, he takes the hits, and he never got knocked down, so we never worried about his size.
Pat, you were known pretty well in London for the goal celebrations. You did this archer thing one time. What was the other one? The slide on the, I don't know, it was curling or bowling. You have anything planned for your first NHL goal?
Not yet. I'll have to think about that one. Usually I put one in my mind before every game, so I'll think about that one definitely.
Well, you have a little bit of time to work on it. Pat Kane, the first overall pick in the NHL draft. As mentioned, it is Philadelphia next, and for the second straight year, yes, an American goes first overall. Eric Johnson, of course, one of Pat Kane's buddies, picked first last year. Talked to Eric Johnson earlier on today. He said he was more nervous for you this year than he was for him last year. Here's Gordon Miller.